Hey folks, welcome back to a From the Armory with Murph and Lassiter podcast, video, YouTube thing. We have, obviously this is a Shutter Steve production in association with the 3-1 Association. It's a lot of Asians.
A lot of associations, a lot of association.
A lot of shins.
A lot of shins.
And yins.
We're outside today.
We are outside because...
We lost the basement.
We lost the basement. No fault of our own. It's not like we, I don't know, did anything to overstay our welcome or anything there, but I think my mom is sick and she just didn't want to deal with the headache of it.
I'm doing a lot of renovation and stuff too.
They're doing some renovations and rebuilding down there, and good on. So we're here in my backyard.
In the backyard.
Our front yard, actually, technically.
You may recognize the location because it's the same one where you use the. Tell them about the other podcast because they need to check that out too.
Well, sometimes that's what it is. Yeah. The other one's Tailgate Talks with Murph. Just do some gear highlights because we used to do the 2-minute gear check, and 3-1 Association hadn't said they want to go do that yet or no. So I decided I was going to go forth with knife reviews and things like that on my own, and so that's on my channel. So maybe we'll link that, maybe we won't. And the same guy that shoots this shoots that, so maybe he'll throw the link in. I don't know.
I think you just throw the link in, and the hell with it. I mean, we do what we want.
I guess we do what we want. That's what we're doing.
For the most part. There are some stories we're not going to tell.
No.
So
we just told one.
Yeah,
probably shouldn't talk about that.
We're gonna throw that right out of there.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff upcoming. We'll talk about the reunion later on toward the end of the podcast.
Do you have the information on that?
Yeah.
Good, because I was gonna say I can pull it up.
I was while I was dropping off the SEAL team. I familiarized myself with the time, date, and location, and the links where you need to go to. I was like, okay, that's good information. So,
and whether or not we'll be there or not.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. It's like, it's not that I mean, of course we love our 3-1 family, but it's the whole California thing. It's like running the risk of pissing people off. It's just, It's California. It's like, it's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, beautiful state. It's just, for me, I loved my time when I was stationed there. My entirety of my Marine Corps career was either at 3-1 or 2-7 or MCRD, the
San Diego.
Yeah,
Depot.
Depot. However, it's like, I mean, great places to visit. Northern California is beautiful. The beaches, you get all that stuff. It's just for me, it's personal stuff. Like all my, that song, "All My Exes Live in Texas." All my exes are in
Colorado. California?
California. No, I think all my kids are in Colorado. No, I think I got a kid.
You have one kid. What do you mean all your kids are?
All my kids are in Colorado.
She's in Texas. What are you talking about, man? We're learning stuff. Hold on, let's explore.
I've been everywhere, man. No, because on the outside chance that my wife might slip up and listen to this, it's like no, and I was like no. I enjoy the inside of my house and not the outside, the bed and not the couch.
I feel like she's got too many channels at her disposal to listen to this.
Well, anything that we do is I show it to her, so it's up to her if she wants to watch or not. I mean, the podcast that you do, covering the knives and stuff like that, we watch that because it's short enough to keep her attention. And,
3 minutes.
Yeah, and interesting enough to also, again, keep her attention. But a lot of stuff going on down here in Indiana. Knocked out a trail race. We actually had a divide and conquer yesterday. Tell us about what you had.
Yeah, it was like a scheduling conflict. It wasn't exactly intentional. We'd signed up for that. Well, I signed up, of course, late, but still before I found out about the other engagement. But it was Dances with Dirt in Nalbone, Indiana. Which is nowhere near Nalbone, Indiana. But still.
No, I was in Nashville.
On the other side of Nashville. Yeah, so anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, semantics. But it's that was cool. So we'd signed up for that, and then when we found out my daughter had her, if you guys are familiar with TED Talks, she qualified for a TEDx, TED Education Talk, and she was going to be set to do that at our Brown County Music Center, where all all these bands and stuff come and play. I mean, like big bands, like it's a real music venue here in town. We had actually seen Flogging Molly a couple months prior on that stage, and then she got invited to go on that stage to do her speech, and it's going to be broadcast on the TEDx channel. So anyway, I thought, well, I'll do that in the evening, but Johnny and I will race in the morning. We'll get cleaned up. We'll go out there and watch the speech, both of us. And that's not what happened. They scheduled both at the same damn time. So about the time I was finally able to break contact from that, like it was over meet and greets and hey, thanks for coming out type stuff was done because they had what I say like 12 speakers. Mm-hmm. One of them was an Indianapolis Colt current player. I think he's a cornerback. He came up and gave a speech.
Whose name we can't recall because...
Yeah, I've got it over there in a pamphlet. I don't remember. I'm not a football guy. So,
neither one of us watch football.
But he was apparently really good at what he did. And he was very passionate about what he was talking about, which was great. So he came out and closed it out. But, I mean, everything from 8-year-olds, it was a second grader, all the way up to high school seniors. And then this Colts player and a couple of educators and things like that gave speeches. Really cool, thought-provoking stuff, which is what TED Talks are about. It was awesome. And then after I got done, I had met up with you, and you'd already been done with the race for what, maybe an hour?
About an hour. So.
Yeah, and you were sitting there having a beer with one of my friends from
Carrie,
early days. Yeah,
Carrie, I told her she'd be mentioned on the podcast. So that's what.
Okay, I didn't want to drop her name, so if you already told her, cool.
Yeah, I said you'll be mentioned on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the cool thing about trail racing or that type of community, or just getting outside. Same thing with rucking, trail racing, road racing, endurance courses, obstacle courses. You meet some really cool people. So
yeah,
and I thought it was kind of cool that she was a viewer of the podcast.
Yeah, because that's how she recognized you walking across the finish line, right?
Yeah, actually walking back from the truck after changing over, and she was like, "Hey," she goes, "Johnny," and I go, "Yeah." I was like,
"You've been served."
Like, here we go again. It was like, "I don't know you." It was like, "That's not my kid," and and I was able to hang out with her for a while, and she had some really good stories about being a massage therapist and getting her. She had a license in Florida and getting her licensure here in Tennessee, and I was like, "Man, that's good. Like, it's a great place to come up and set up a table." I was like,
Indiana.
Huh?
Indiana.
You
said here in Tennessee.
Did I?
I don't think she's licensed in Tennessee, so
I wonder how many beers
don't
I've
call
had.
her for help on that if you're in Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I mean, I'm not sure what the licensing procedure is, but
I'm pretty sure it's pretty lenient in Tennessee.
yeah.
It was like, you got a table?
Put
Great.
your hands on people. Come on over.
But in my defense, though, I mean, this looks like Tennessee. So
much of it does, man. I mean, it's very similar. That's why I always tell people is like all this area is like cut from the same basic cloth until you get to the actual mountains.
And it's like, I think Indiana is this part of like in the Brown County area, all the way up to probably as far as I've been, other side of Bloomington, the Spencer area, it thinks it's a southern state.
Yep.
So, I mean, just the way people conduct. I mean, just great people, well mannered, gracious. They dress the part.
Yeah.
So.
Well, until you get to, what do you mean you got to figure?
We got to figure how many places I've been to. I mean, I've been up as far as West Lafayette. So. And
You got to figure a lot of that area was settled first prior to Indiana because Indiana is still frontier. You get through the Cumberland Gap, then it broke in, and then they started moving up through here. So a lot of those people migrated up north for factory jobs and things like that back in the day. So I mean, it's pretty fascinating stuff. Even like 23andMe and Ancestry.com, if you read that, it shows the migration stuff. And then you read on it. I listened to Stephen Ambrose, Undaunted Courage. It was like my homework assignment for going to Montana. I listened to it on the way out there, and then re-listened to American Buffalo by Steve Rinella, and because my kid was asleep a lot, so I had some free time, and I was listening to that, and they were talking about how the whole settlement and the westward expansion and stuff. It's really fascinating stuff to look into. Whether it affects your life now or not, it does. I mean, it shows where you came from.
As far as Indiana goes, I mean that's great. So did you learn a lot of history about it, or?
Not Indiana specifically, but when you look into it, yeah, through the internet, and my own research after listening to that, yeah.
So I don't mean to throw you a curveball.
Throw me on the spot here. I don't know. I'm not an expert.
It's like I got to look at the North Carolina flag to see when it became a state. I know it's one of the 13 original colonies. I know Indiana wasn't, but I know not soon behind.
1816, I think, was Indiana.
So I know they were involved in the Civil War. So
barely.
So that was 61 to 65.
Yeah, I say barely.
18,
I'm not
not
diminishing
19.
anybody from an Indiana regiment that died or anything. We have like Morgan's Raiders from Kentucky came up here across the river somewhere in like Corydon, because at the time I think that was still the capital. Then it moved to Indianapolis, probably to get further away from Kentucky if I had to guess. But I like Kentucky, so I don't know.
So you know more than you know more.
I know a little bit about that stuff because I think we joked about Nashville, how there's so many Nashvilles and the real Nashville. It's like, well, everybody knows that's where music goes to die, but I mean, like a lot of states have Nashvilles.
Chapel Hills.
Just like what is it? There's like 20 something states that have a town or city with the name Buffalo in it. And this is a stupid bit of trivia that I figured out. It's like 20 something. I don't know exactly the number. And The most popular of them, of course, is Buffalo, New York, and that was the only state that didn't have indigenous buffalo at all, but they still named it Buffalo. So of all the ones that had the name Buffalo, that's the only one that never actually had buffalo in it, and that's the most popular one.
Now, actually, since you said
So there's
buffalo,
some dumb trivia.
since you said buffalo, and more on that, actually, that's a pretty good segment as to like history of the states. I think that's, for being in the Marine Corps is everybody's from everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like not just Texas, majority of them Texas. But I think that's good information to have. Is like learn your state. Like I said earlier, kind of throw myself underneath the bus. Is like for my state of North Carolina, I have to I look at the flag to like remember. Okay, and of course everybody knows this. 13 original colonies. It fall on the side of the Confederacy. They basically did anything that South Carolina.
Well, you had two undecided.
They're kind of like South
They didn't
Carolina.
want to commit. Yeah.
What is South Carolina
Like
doing?
Kentucky and Missouri, I think, were the two that were undecided.
And it was Kentucky never, as far as I know, never committed to.
Right.
They had they had folks fighting on both sides of the Mason-Dixon line. But North Carolina was kind of, and I say this because it kind of hurts too. They were kind of like South Carolina's bitch. This was like even it's like in the Revolutionary War. It's like, what's South Carolina doing? It's like they didn't commit.
Yeah, we'll go with them. We're still Carolina.
Yeah. It's like you can see them in like in the House of Representatives, and the South Carolina representative is talking, and North Carolina's like, what's he? All right, we're gonna do that too then.
What he said.
So
Ditto.
because I think South Carolina was the first state to succeed.
So North Carolina is the ditto state.
Yeah, what he said, what that guy said. So, but I mean, a rich history. But I mean, people think North Carolina. They think the South, and hopefully they think barbecue. And of course, that's not a debate I'm gonna get into about who has the best barbecue because.
Dude, I enjoy all barbecues.
I like
when
barbecue.
people argue about it, I'm like, why are you guys arguing? Just eat.
It's
It's
so
amazing.
Good. So yeah, when I'm in Texas, I like the Texas barbecue.
Yeah.
If I'm in Kansas City, that's good too. Depends on. I mean, if you're into tomato base or vinegar base.
Yeah.
I prefer vinegar base. However, I'm not gonna. Somebody put a plate of barbecue for me, and I'm like, no. It's kind of like beer.
Yeah.
It's like unless it has something like the kind of stuff that you drink.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's like we talk about all the time. Like I'm labeled as a beer snob and a coffee snob a lot, but one of the best cups of coffee I ever had was whatever was on sale that my grandpa was probably drinking at the time, having a coffee with him or my grandma. Mm-hmm. And I don't get to do that anymore. I mean, I can my grandma still, but beer, same thing. I mean, I drink a lot of silly beer, but helping somebody bale hay or something like that, and they hand you a Busch Light, I'm not going to pour it out.
That's
like one of the best beers. Pass
How
Blue
was that
Ribbon
Pabst Blue
yesterday.
Ribbon yesterday?
I don't know that I've ever had a PBR.
But you made quick work of it.
Oh yeah, it's an easy to drink beer. That's why these guys get drunk mowing grass on it. Like, hell, they go mow grass for an hour and all of a sudden they're slammed because they just drank like 8 of them.
Why is that guy stopped in the middle of his yard, hunched over? He's got this Pabst Blue Ribbon bottle. Like,
Hunched over that mower. Hey, he's been drinking since noon.
This is where I live now.
Yeah.
This is good.
But it's and speaking of that, I was out west. This is brewed in California, so I hate to give California a nod, but Rainier. That's for a high school beer, man. That's pretty fantastic. I brought back a 6-pack of Tall Boys and a 30-pack of 12-ounce.
I'm drinking Shotgun Wedding out of the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Yeah.
The Country Boy Brewing. Like I actually got onto these
I've actually
guys.
been there.
Have you?
Yeah.
I actually got into these guys from the Nashville Brew Fest. I tried it one time, or tried it. The little. It was like, you want to take a taste? I go, is it beer?
Yeah.
And they go, yeah. I go, well, absolutely. And
Yeah, that's probably one of the better ones. I like that one.
I think we were talking about that yesterday, as far as, and I know we're everywhere right now, folks.
Yeah, right now we're coming back in. We got to do it right now. It's like the first day of range week.
Yeah.
We're all over the target. We'll zero in a minute.
We'll get into sight alignment, sight picture a little bit later.
Yeah, there's
But,
no ACOGs involved though.
But that's the thing is, and again, going back to that community of like the outdoor community, you tried it like is it Three Floyds?
Yeah, Three Floyds Brewing. Yeah.
I would have never known that out of Indiana that I liked an IPA.
Yeah.
And that was Zombie Dust,
Yep.
which was delicious. And of course, anytime after you run any length of time, it's like your body is screaming for carbohydrates, and it's it hit the spot.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna loop back around.
Okay.
Get back to the coffee because I know you mentioned Buffalo. saw where you posted on Facebook where you made some coffee next to a buffalo.
like-
Your trip to Montana with your daughter Erin.
Yeah.
That was an event. I mean, anybody who follows Murph on Facebook, you can see some of the adventure, but what you didn't know is they were snowed in on the side of the road for umpteen hours.
Yeah, snowed in May. You guys that live out west and places like that, I mean, of course, America's going to be different than other countries as far as your weather patterns, but snowed in May was new to me in Indiana, at least. I got a rental car because I didn't want to put the miles on my truck. I think it's an 1,800 mile trip because it's on the far west side of Montana, like by Idaho. And yeah, that was an adventure. We made a like daddy-daughter trip out of it. I'm not like loaded or anything like that, so don't be like, oh, it must be nice. But I get a pretty substantial discount through work through a rental car company, and it's like 60% off or something, which is fantastic. I'm gonna be sad if it ever ends. But got a Chevy Malibu, thinking that's a decent little economical type car, and it's comfortable for two of us with all our gear.
Which was packed, by the way.
Which was packed. I overpack always. Like just coming down to your house, I'll take.
2 is 1.
So,
2 is 1. 1
so
is
I
none.
always take at least an extra pair of underwear and an extra pair of socks for shoes or boots, depending on how many days I'm going to be there. So if it's 7 days, I'm carrying 8 pair of underwear, 8 pair of short socks, 8 pair of whatever. Break it down, whatever. And I don't care. I mean, it's.
I was under the impression you're going to crap your pants. Like for some reason, it's like I need to pack more underwear in case I'm doing something and I have GI distress.
Yeah, well, no, I just
worst case scenario.
I look at it like I want to be ready. I mean, in case something happens, I don't want to have to impose on somebody. You already let me stay there. I don't want to say, hey, can I do laundry? So I just carry extra shit so that I can carry it back. And I'm carrying, this like couple 1,000-pound backpack basically. All my stuff is in my vehicle. It's not like I'm carrying it. If I was humping it to your house, I'd probably pack a little lighter. But if I'm driving, dude, why not? Why wouldn't I throw some stuff in there? Anyway, I had the gear packed. I had to test out a new piece of gear as far as packing. That was cool. It did very well. Carried everything I needed it.
Was it 5,000 miles across the Amazon?
Did
everybody have a pot?
We're going to delve into that because that has captivated my interest for now. And we'll go through like we're going to have to speed through some of this. I feel like we've got so much to talk about. Anyway, hauled this stuff up there, I don't remember the route. I'd have to think about it. But anyway, it was like Illinois, Minnesota, Iowa, South Dakota. I'm probably skipping something. Wyoming, Montana. And then back we did basically the same route. But I don't think we hit Minnesota on the way back somehow.
Did it take you through Colorado at all?
No. You basically go through like the northwest corner or northeast corner of Wyoming up through Montana and then straight across Montana. Because where we were going was a little town called Darby. It's about 2 hours south-ish of Missoula.
Was there something going on there, or just
I think people that know I'm pretty good friends with Ethan Becker Knife and Tool, Becker Patrol Pack, all that kind of stuff. I could do a whole podcast on that guy. He's just amazing. But he used to host us down at his house in Tennessee, so that's why I was always in Tennessee before, was Maryville type area, Von Orr, Tennessee. Well, he sold his place and moved to Montana with a friend of his and his girlfriend. Even just when you think somebody can't get better, you meet somebody that they hang out with and you're like, dude, like you've cultivated like greatness in people. Like the hospitality is just outstanding. They really took to my daughter. I can't say enough about him. I don't want to drop his name on here or anything, but really cool people. Put Erin up in her own little private cabin for the night every night. She did not have to stay in the cabin or
I'm
the
sure she
tent with
hated
me.
that.
Yeah, they had Wi-Fi. They got that, what's it called? The Elon Musk stuff.
Like the
Starlink.
Starlink.
Yeah, they had Starlink because they're too rural for fiber optic, but they've got Starlink. She loved it. She had Wi-Fi. She did her Young Marine stuff at camp because this kid like works on vacation already. I'm like, kid, I don't even work at work. Like you're an overachiever.
She is into anything that's. I mean, she loves which is kind of weird. Was not kind of weird. She loves the structure.
Oh, I know.
She loves.
Which is weird because coming from me, I don't like structure.
I didn't want to.
She is very structured. Yeah, no, I get where you're going with it. Yeah, she's that kid.
It's not a bad thing. It's like Murph is and was a great Marine. It's just that he's the guy that you would like if you needed field knowledge, if you needed break glass in case of war, if you needed a donkey killed, that was inside joke. So
Yeah,
for those
couple,
that know,
three, whatever.
hit us up in the comment section if you want to know what I meant by that. But you put him back and you tell him he's got to do this, that, and the other thing back, and he'd do it. But man,
I'd grumble.
You would learn all kinds of new like cuss words. Is like, I don't even know how you put those together. But we do that even now, when we get up in the morning and do something we know we're going to enjoy. We know we're going to have a good time. We know we have a great people. It's just, Court, it's always the time, and depending on the weather, it's like we're going to bitch, piss, and moan it, but we're going to do it because we say we're going to do it.
Right.
So
yeah, game day will be there, but God, don't ask us if we're ready beforehand.
No, because I'm going to fill a pillowcase full of bar soap and beat you to death. We're cussing at each other.
This is a house
How'd
of
you get me to
learned
do
doctors.
this shit?
So we did that whole trip, and going into Bozeman, it was West 90, and you can probably look this up at this point. From what I hear, they had kind of a snowstorm that they didn't expect in this mountain pass going into Bozeman. We were like, I want to say 10 or 15 miles outside of Bozeman. I don't know for sure. And it was late at night. It was like 11:30, 12 o'clock, because I'm the only one that could drive. The kid's too young to drive, so it's just me. The whole
You didn't feel like rolling the dice?
28 hours or whatever it was of driving, plus stops along the way. I mean, I gave us 2 days to get there. I fucked up. That's what I'm saying. And
we need to do 50 miles a day.
We're going to come back to that, damn it. So anyway, we go cruising through there and got snowed in. It was a whole saga, like where they basically shut it down behind us. Nobody was getting through the interstate, and ahead of us, nobody's coming eastbound. So they shut it down, like that whole pass. So
for how long?
We were there for like 10 or 11 hours on an off ramp, which had nothing on it.
In a Chevy Malibu.
You see all this in Montana all the time. All right, folks. New location, same management. We've relocated. We were getting washed out by the sun over there, and I don't know which one of us was washed out, but if it was me, we definitely needed to move. It was Johnny.
It was me.
Oh yeah, I guess we did it.
I'm not the star of this show.
Mountain Pass, whatever.
Mountain Pass. It is.
Yeah, so they
10 hours.
It was 10 or 11-ish hour, 10 and a half maybe. We were stuck on an off ramp, and in Montana at least, probably out west a lot. There's a lot of, you'll see exit ramp, blah blah blah, and it'll tell you like what's there food wise and stuff usually on their signs on the interstate. This one just said no services rendered, which you see a lot out there, no services or something like that. So there's nothing there. It's like a county road access or something. And the semis that were in front of us, that were following the snowplow truck that was making the headway for us to get out of the interstate and off the mountain pass, screwed up and followed the one of two snowplows that went off the ramp to go back on the other way and clear that way. Well, the semis started following him down the ramp and realized, oh shit, he's going the other way. He's not going back up on the interstate. Now what? And they got stuck at the bottom of the ramp on this county road. And then we started seeing all these people on the county road get stuck. And then it was like, well, we're here for the night.
You guys weren't down there yet, though.
We pulled in behind them. We were right behind the semis because they're plowing. I mean, we got this little two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive fucking car that's ill-equipped for this location, which that was if there was any lack of preparation, that was it. Luckily, we were prepped for camping in the mountains.
Well, that was a variable you had no idea.
I could have probably, like you said, checked the weather, but at the same time, I didn't see that coming. I seen like light snow, so I thought, okay, it'll be easy. Well, I mean, light snow in Montana is probably heavy snow here. I don't know. So we got stuck, couldn't even turn around. I mean, it was a mess. The local either fire department or volunteer fire department was on hand helping people get unstuck. But then we basically got stuck for the night. Like there's nothing we could do for you until morning. So
you guys have plenty of gas, I hope?
We had a little over quarter tanks. We were good for that. And like I said, Bozeman was close enough that when we did get out, we'd be able to get gas pretty quick. So that all worked out. My daughter enjoyed it. If you're listening, Montana NDOT or Montana DOT, whatever, don't come at me, but I did have a beer or two on the side of the interstate waiting for cleanup the next morning because I'd bought some local beer on the way out. But you weren't sitting behind the driver's
seat. You were in the passenger seat. So.
Sure.
With the door open.
Whatever
and
it
the keys
takes
were out of the car.
To clear me in court. Yeah, I was doing all that.
Whatever legal precedence.
And then the next morning, and luckily because I'm smart-ish, we'll
give them that.
I had my coffee kit behind the seat. So the next morning when it was time to like get ready to like the sun comes up and I'm finally awake, I was like, well, coffee time on the interstate. So I've had beer and coffee on West 90 just waiting for snow removal. And then we just continued on without really any event. I mean, we hit South Dakota prior to that and went to Mount Rushmore and Crazy Horse.
That Crazy Horse thing is, when they finish it, is going to be amazing.
I hope I'm alive when they finish it, because I do want to see it, dude. If you don't know about Crazy Horse and Mount Rushmore and the history there, go check it out. And they're so close. They're like 20 minutes away from each other, so it's definitely worth checking out if you're in that area. Everybody there was cool. All those little mountain towns were cool. I mean, we're tourists, so maybe they treated us differently, but I had a great time. I mean, it's one of those trips that, like I said, on the way back, that's when we hit South Dakota, Badlands, South Dakota, by like happenstance, and it was the right time of day. My daughter was asleep. We're coming back. We're still trying to make time, but not like, we're not held to like a real tight standard. I was already going to get in at like 4 in the morning. I was supposed to be back to work, so I kind of already called it. I wasn't going to be there. We hit Badlands. Right as you roll into the Badlands National Park, there was a buffalo that greeted us. I woke my daughter up and heard some new colorful words that even I didn't know, because she was surprised by a buffalo outside of her passenger window. And then we got to circle around, see some idiots getting way too, like as close as that camera is to me right now.
A lot of people can see. I mean, as many videos as you see is like, don't go pet the big furry dog.
Yeah, the what do they call it? The fluffy cow.
The fluffy cow. Yeah, that's what it is. The fluffy cow.
I will say the one that really bothered me was the kid that got roped into one, and the adult ran away from it. Like, I'm not gonna give the guy shit for running away from a buffalo, but he shouldn't have had his kid that close to begin with.
And then leave your kid.
I understand there's nothing you can do to help that kid at that point, but you could have distracted the buffalo away from the kid to give the kid time to escape. But whatever. Anyway, it all worked out. Everybody's still alive. But these idiots were like way too close with the camera. I told Erin to get her phone out and like video this for the news while I was driving in. Went to the other side of the parking lot
for forensic evidence. We're gonna need this for evidence.
Just for humor later. I like to laugh at people that do stupid things, including myself. And it was great, man. It was a good time. We, like I said, we made the coffee right there. I mean, 20 yards from my buffalo while these people were distracting it, so I was safe.
And if you want to see that, you can go to Murph's Facebook page.
It's probably on Instagram and Facebook, yeah.
And it was on Facebook, and then posted. It was like really super cool. So
yeah.
I know Leslie dug it. It's like, oh look at the big furry cow.
Oh dude, I love it. I'm a buffalo nerd, and I know somebody's yelling bison, but go fuck yourself. That's not what they are. But anyway,
you tell him. He worldly traveled. He knows what he's talking about.
I know some things occasionally.
He knows some things about some things.
Yeah, so that all happened, and then we got back, and that was cool, and then I won't talk too much about all that. We can do a whole nother podcast on that kind of stuff.
Oh, hell yeah. Because it's interesting. I mean, we're always doing something, so there's always plenty of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Ideally, we would like to get some, I mean, it is a, we'll call it a marine podcast. We would love to get some, eventually we're going to have Melissa on here. And like, that's kind of when I hit her up the other day, like, anything you'd like us to talk about. And we'll talk about the reunion here shortly, but it's like, we're going to have her on the show.
Yeah.
Is like, even if we
we will have her on the show for sure.
Even if we have to phone her in.
Even if we have to go to California to do this.
Yeah. And we were talking about it yesterday. We're going to end up in California. But we'll see. I don't know how many. Yeah, I'll try that.
I'll say it's only like 4%. So it's
I've only got a 4-hour drive
good
home,
road trip beer.
I'm peeing a bottle.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
It'll all work out.
So yeah, we'll find out if we're going to California or not, which is, do we want to go ahead and talk about your run yesterday and then talk about that?
It was like, I mean, the thing about the run yesterday, it was, as I said before, it was a blast. Had a good time. It's like there was, the course was trash from, you guys had rain all week long.
Dude, it rained all week.
Same thing in Tennessee, but I didn't think it's, of course the running course is on a ski slope, so you got to figure that wasn't designed necessarily for running. It was designed, it was also on horse trails.
Oh, okay.
So, and of course, you've run on horse trails yourself.
Sure.
And I think that was the OPSF.
Yeah, there's different kind of mucky stuff, not even just mud.
This was like thick, tacky oatmeal consistency. And then I thought somebody was coming up behind us.
I really did too. I was like, dude.
I was like, you don't live here.
Yeah.
And it was just.
Hold on, you weren't invited.
Yeah, exactly. After you get to the realization that you're like, okay, no PR is going to be set today. It's like no 12-minute miles are going to happen today. I linked up with a couple of locals and we just shot the shit for miles and had a blast, just covered in mud, until you get to the water crossing, which was probably any other time would have been
creek.
A creek? No, this was like a river runs through it. It was like people were getting washed out, and it's like I even took a misstep, and it's like, whoop! Good thing I waterproofed my my gear, which is regardless of, especially if I've never been on a course, is like I'm waterproofing my gear, so it saved my phone. The watch was okay already, but
and your drop bag was even waterproof, but you didn't need it because it was in the truck, right?
I just because I can't take into account. Same thing, like I said earlier, is like check the weather.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're gonna have time to talk about the kind of stuff that we see on TV that just makes us
I
yell
think
at
we
the
can make
TV.
time for that. That's amazing.
It's like, what are you doing? So regardless of what I'm doing, I don't care if the forecast is sunshine, no rain. I still waterproof my gear. I take the extra time to make sure that I'm squared away. So that way, because my stuff is under the buy once, cry once, which means is I paid a lot of money for it in the hopes that I'll never have to get another one of those or whatever it is again. So, I mean, had a great time. The only thing that was aggravating was the little, like we in North Carolina and Tennessee, we call them like the sweat bees.
Yeah.
You see them around the water buffaloes. And
that's what we all call them here, yeah. Sweat bees.
Man, I'm scratching the one that hit my wrist. They were everywhere on everybody. Because every time I pop my head, a dead one would fall off, and it's like the sting. It's painful, but it's not like excruciating pain. But it's like aggravating. So at one point, you're like, oh man, it's like I wish I've been running forever. It's like no, you're just mad at the bees, and then you forget about how far you run or where you're at. But other than that, it was awesome. So that's what I love about it. Nobody cares. You go out there and have a good time.
And everybody's suffering the same bullshit you are. They're all running a trail. They're all doing this stuff, and then they're all dealing with the same elements. Yeah, dude, I'm sad I missed it, but there was a little bit of me that, like, when I got up, because my thing started a little later than yours. There was a little bit of me that when you left, I was like, man, I got to get make this guy coffee and get him out the door. But I was also like, but I don't have to run in the mud. This is nice. So I was
like crew stuff.
I was feeling a little bit good about that.
You were my crew. You were remote
I got
crew.
you coffee, and then I just came out and had a beer with you. That's the kind of crew I can handle.
Yep.
Yeah.
So showed up, and you didn't get your free meal though.
I didn't need it.
I wasn't hungry until
good.
like 45 minutes after the race, because after a while it takes a while to settle down.
Yeah.
So
then,
all in all, a great day. Yeah, like I said, we had to divide and conquer. Because there's no way you were gonna miss what you're gonna. And I do feel, in retrospect, it's like, I feel kind of bad that I didn't go. I was like, but you also understood, it's like he paid for that event.
I did. So I went and got my shirt. I got my free beer. I got all the things because I was like, man, I'm gonna get mine. If I paid whatever it was, $50 or $40 or $60, whatever it was, I'm getting all that. Now I'm not getting the medal because I didn't run the race, but I'll wear the shirt because I run. I'll wear the shirt.
Scored you one.
It'll.
It's like they weren't paying attention. I was like, no.
But I
That's karma
definitely
right
got the
there.
shirt because in my mind it's something I want to do and I want to advertise for it. So if I'm wearing the shirt while I'm running, I'll tell people, no, I didn't get a run, but I definitely got the shirt.
Well,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Shirt.
Hey, go lay down.
It's not about. But I was talking about feeling bad because I was thinking about it last night. I was like, man, I feel bad I missed Aaron's thing. But I also know
you'll get to watch a video.
I got to watch the video.
Going on the TED channel, so or TEDx channel, I guess. So it'll be up.
We both pay for the event. One of us needs to go. So, and it also gives us content. So from time to time, because we are into physical fitness and stuff like that, and we try not to give you the stuff that we like and the stuff that works for us. Is like I'm not going to sit here and give you, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to track your macros. This is all. Do your own research.
God, do you remember? So the last run we did, the Op 50/50 thing. I think I made a mention of it to you, maybe on the podcast even, about the dude that was nerded out about his stupid watch and his shoes. They were, because we all have our preferences, but this guy went on about, I tried it last run, it didn't work. I didn't like the way it displayed information, so I got rid of it and I switched to this. This one's okay. I don't think it's accurate. I'm like, oh God, shut up. Like, do you know that people used to run before watches existed?
Yes,
and they did just fine. People ran before shoes existed, and they're dead now, but they did just fine at the time.
It was like the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
What was that? She was an elderly woman who actually completed. This was back in the day, and she was an elderly woman who just went. I think it was Nobo.
Oh.
It was from Georgia up to Maine, and just went.
They called her like Granny something.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
She was in a, for lack of a better definition, freaking flip flops.
She had like
and a sundress,
and she had like a plastic sack she carried a gear in. Like a grocery bag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so speaking of that then, so we got to get into this because we're talking about shitty conditions. There is a show on right now. I don't know if it's, I think it's Discovery, I think is what it's on. I watched it on Amazon. You buy the season for like $10. But it's on currently on TV if you have satellite or cable. It's on currently like once a week. Expedition from Hell, The Lost Tapes.
With Mickey Grossman.
Mickey Grossman, former IDF explosives expert. I don't know anything about this guy.
I keep saying he's special forces. I can't find anything.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that, but he was probably just an IDF kind of assaultman kind of
Which
guy.
is,
like
the IDF, they're badasses, we'll give you
Which
that.
great, yeah, absolutely. I love, hey, their women are amazing looking.
They have guns.
They do
and
have,
tight
and
pants.
that makes them even hotter. Yeah, but so anyway, I had heard about this years ago at the Becker camp in Tennessee and just didn't give it any real mind at all. I was like, oh, it's just a thing they did. I didn't know they were filming it and that later the tapes would be filmed or put out 12 years later. I had no idea. So when I seen it recently in Montana, because the tire needed changed on the rental car, so I had to run into a town about an hour away, get the tire changed. And as I'm there, I see a commercial for this. I'm like, man, I know that guy. And then I was like, I know that guy. I know like two dudes on the show, Joe Flowers and Kyle Versteeg. And I'm like, man, and they both have their own YouTube channels and they design knives and make knives. So go check them out. But holy shit, I had no idea what they went through with that whole I thought it was just,
And it's
hey,
all
trekking through the jungle.
almost self-inflicted by one guy.
You're
He's
trekking through the
inflicting.
jungle with a tyrant as a leader. At least the way they make it for the first two episodes.
This guy is a freaking douche nozzle. It's like,
you want to talk about bad leadership? Go watch this.
Yeah, on the outside chance that he sees this, yeah, you don't know your ass from a hole in the ground.
Yeah, he's yeah. It's amazing. It's one of those lessons in leadership, what not to do type segments that you could like go watch this and go, man, don't be that guy. There's another guy that was really good and had some knowledge and had good ideas and input. But they fired him.
Yeah, I think he was.
He was an Army cat.
I'm assuming just based on his demeanor and his, the way he carried himself, is like Army officer. He just had that look of.
Probably, yeah. And his regimented lifestyle, he was probably an officer.
Yeah.
But they fired him. They kicked him off the expedition. I'm like, there went your chances of survival right there.
Yeah.
I mean, dude.
Well, they wouldn't give him any. They wouldn't let him give any input anyway. The guy knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
You could tell by the way. I mean, when they rappelled off the side of that waterfall. I mean, he formulated his own, Swiss seat and had his carabiners and figure eight was correct. He wanted it to do. Mickey's like, do it my way. He's like, no, I'm gonna do it my way. And Mickey goes, it's your life. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, if you'd put that guy out there and said, hey, you need to make this 5,000-mile trip across the Amazon, the widest part of the Amazon, he would have found a way to make it happen. He would have done it just fine. But being part of that, it's almost like the Army in general. You're a cog in a machine, and seeing the conductor run the machine wrong, you're like, dude, this thing has no hope. It's going to break down. So we've definitely seen it. That's why I was.
We're definitely related to this.
We knew this, yeah.
And there's I'm not saying another word. And
Nope.
I'm not saying how to freaking handle a situation like that. Those are private conversations, and like hell no.
Yeah.
Like, no spontaneous utterance there.
But speaking of that, let's segue back to now because we're getting on time. We're getting close on time. We need to run.
We never have the shit that we're going to talk about, huh?
Yeah, we're not going to run about shit. We're going to run out of shit to talk about for sure this time. But we need to bring up the reunion.
Oh yeah. So the reunion is November 7th through the 10th.
But what is the reunion though?
The reunion is for Lima Company, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines Lima Company. It's for, of course, those veterans, Gold Star families, of course, associated.
Is it Fallujah 20 years?
I think it's Fallujah 20 years.
Is that what it is? The 20th?
I think so. I know our last one in Texas was Fallujah. I'm assuming. So, but I'm going to give you the site, which is warriorunionfoundation.org.
Yep.
Click on that, and you can get all the specifics on about where I think those veterans who are showing up unaccompanied will be staying in Quonset huts on Camp Pendleton. Yeah, I read more in depth into it because I just had that kind of time.
Are we considered unaccompanied, or if we're going together, are we considered a couple?
It depends on who you ask.
Do we get a suite hot tub?
We'll have to talk to Melissa about that.
Okay.
There's going to be stipulations too.
I was told we'll be picked up at the airport, delivered to Camp Pendleton. We will not have to set foot on California soil. which makes me so happy.
Because I don't consider Camp Pendleton. I consider
No,
that
that's sovereign.
Marine Corps base Camp
Yeah,
Pendleton.
that's a sovereign state.
But what I did see was if you bring family.
Yep.
So veterans accompanied would have to make arrangements for their billeting, like I'm assuming hotel or.
Yeah.
I don't know if the hotel in Del Mar.
So you're responsible for your own baggage type thing.
Your own. So
yep.
You show up, you can bring your wife, husband, kid, significant other, but you're responsible for that. So that's warriorunionfoundation.org, and just look for the 3rd Battalion 1st Marines reunion, Lima Company reunion. And I'm assuming, roughly assuming that it is definitely the Fallujah. Well, actually, the Fallujah was in, the anniversary of that was in 23. Was it not?
No,
24,
late 04,
24,
05.
yeah.
So this would be
So
20.
24, so yeah.
That's what I was wondering, if that's what it was, or if it was just
Yeah.
Lima in general. So that's going to be awesome to get back to some of that, because I haven't been there since.
And I think that's something we'll pull. I don't know if I'm going to bring outside of myself, so, because I kind of like the idea of just showing up.
My daughter wants to go, but I really feel like it's probably better if I go solo on this one. I don't know. We'll see. I'll make a game day decision.
It depends. Yeah, and I'll talk to my wife more about it. It's like,
and she's little.
It's a different environment. It's like, but I don't expect it to be anything that she's not used to. I'm not worried about. She's a grown woman. I'm not worried about the language or anything like that. She's used to that. Even with the people I hang out with now,
I think it'd be cool if we got a picture by the Armory.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And they can't tell me we can't, because you see these clowns all the time. By clowns, I mean Marines. Thank you for your service. But, like, these idiots that are TikToking cleaning weapons at the Armory, you can't tell me you can't have your phones in there. Like, we could go in there and get a quick picture.
Yeah, we should do it.
We should totally do it.
This is your boy Murph, dog. Boom, cleaning up. Boom.
And we got some shitty Taylor Swift music playing in the background while we're throwing up deuces or something.
Don't forget to check out that lower receiver, yo. Hit me up.
Look at this dirty firing pin, carbon buildup. What?
Slip the 20 to my boy.
Ejection port.
Okay, that came too. That came too easy.
Yeah, we're going with all right. But anyway, we should go in there and slip in and get a picture for sure. What else we got? Because we're getting on time. I don't want to cut it short, but I also want to hit all the.
I think we've covered anything. Anything else that we think of after this is we can just carry it on to the next cast in 2 months.
Yeah.
So, to be continued.
What is next month?
What is it next month?
June. What's June?
I don't know. We have to check. We got so much stuff going on. I got to make calendars.
Now, we got usually the one reminding you we're not probably filming because Steve can't go to Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Well,
that's not until July.
Well, you can go to. You're not banned from Tennessee. They're not going to pay you to go to Tennessee is the problem, I think. Or we haven't really breached that, I don't think. I don't know. But anyway.
Well, anyway. So that's it. So close
offline discussion.
I think that's it. Yeah. To be continued.
All right. I think that's it. Well, thanks for showing up, and Violet's unimpressed as always.
Yep. She hung out with us for a while and I go, nah.
Yeah, and then she goes, I like this backpack over here, so she's laying on it.
But she did leave copious amounts of dog hair.
That's what she does. St. Bernard glitter.
The end.
All right.
We
Cheers, fuckers.
Later.